Johnnie Walker Blue Label Lunar New Year, Year of the Rabbit. What's it like? Stay tuned for the Whiskey Whistle. Greetings, my whiskey people. Happy Lunar New Year. 새해 복 많이 받으세요. That's the Korean greeting. Mark Kaufman here at Whiskey Whistle on YouTube, sharing a little whiskey awesomeness from Winnipeg, the center of North America, bringing you a very special Johnnie Walker Blue Label review. This is 46% Blue Label for Lunar New Year, the Year of the Rabbit edition. And I gotta tell you, I'm a rabbit. I'm a blue rabbit in the Korean astrology that's related to the Chinese astrology. Anyway, so I'm a blue rabbit. This is the year of the black rabbit for those in Korea. So that's kind of neat. And what is it called in Korean again? It is 개묘년. Year of the rabbit, year of the black rabbit, 개묘년. 개묘년. That's hard to say. 개묘년. There we go. I think that was okay. All right. So here on this review, we are going to do a couple of things. We're going to crack open this bottle. We're going to pour it out, and we're going to check out the nose, the palate, and the finish as it is, neat at 46%. And then we'll add a little bit of water and see if that changes things, improves things, or worsens them. Finally, we'll give it a Whiskey Whistle whiskey score. And I also want to compare it to the standard Blue Label, 40%. And I want to see if there's a big difference there. I have a feeling that this is a slightly different formulation, made especially for the Lunar New Year editions of Blue Label. So we'll see if I'm right. Now, I'm going to be recording this both in Korean and also in English simultaneously. So bear with me. There will be a couple of parts that'll be mixed with some English and some Korean. So I'm going to pause it here. I'm going to start again for the Korean community. All right. So I'll be right back. All right, so let's get started. Let's get this opened. 이제 뜯어볼까요? Let's get it opened up. Now, the Blue Label, it's got this little dangly thing, and this is the only way you can open it. You got to pull on it all the way up, and then off it comes. 이렇게 뜯어야죠. 이거 완전히 떼고. Okay, let's get this opened up. And you'll notice it's got that little dangly thing, which keeps you from sneaking a pour in the middle of the night, alerting the owner that their Blue Label is being touched. Okay, so let's get that opened. Ha ha ha. 됐다. I got it opened. Okay, so let's get that poured. Now this is a special edition. You can see the artwork by Angel Chen. So that's pretty cool. Apparently they're going to do 4 different bottlings for Johnnie Walker. Okay, so let's get that poured into my professional blender's glass. Let's get that poured in there. A nice, healthy pour. Okay, excellent. Let's have a look at the color together, shall we? Now, for sure, Blue Label, like all Johnnie Walkers, have color added. I should say at least they've had color added since, I don't know, maybe like 1900 or somewhere around then, as soon as that was beginning to be allowed. So that's got a very, very dark ambery hue. And although a lot of that will be cask driven, for sure, some amount of that color is artificial. That's something that Johnnie Walker really should stop doing and set themselves apart. I'll just read this to you, the English that's on the back here. Lunar New Year, Year of the Rabbit. And Lunar New Year in Korea is known as 설날. It sounds like a long L in the middle. 설날. Okay, anyway. Lunar New Year, year of the rabbit, known to be the luckiest of all 12 zodiac animals. Well, I am pretty lucky. This Johnnie Walker limited edition design pays homage to the rabbit as a symbol of liveliness and new beginnings. Illustrated by Chinese fashion designer Angel Chen, the rabbits prancing confidently among mountainous peaks echoes the defiant optimism of keep walking, a rallying call to face the new year with positivity. Okay, personally, there are some tasting notes inside the box, but I feel you are best to create your own tasting notes based on your own experiences with whiskey. Okay, now, so you've seen the color, and we should check out the legs together. 46%. I expect that the legs will be fairly fat. I can already smell the nose. It's got a very nice, classy whiskey nose. I said that. Yes, I did. The first legs, a little bit quick. 첫 레그가 좀 빠르고, 그리고 두 번째 레그가 천천히 내려가고 있어요. 한 번 더 봅시다. Let's look at that one more time. Yeah, fairly quick first legs. And then nice and slow second legs. Fairly thick as I had expected. Let's have a nice smell and taste. 이제 tasting 시작하겠습니다. But before that, don't forget to subscribe to Whiskey Whistle and hit the bell, ding, 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 so you're notified of future Whiskey Whistles. And if you're interested in Whiskey Whistle and you're following a lot of my reviews, then why not check me out on Patreon and support the channel by becoming a Whiskey Whistle crew member. A Whiskey Whistle Crewmate. That's patreon.com/Whiskey Whistle. You'll get your name in the credits at the end of each video. You'll get advanced viewing of future Whiskey Whistles. You'll also get your own Whiskey Whistle glass. Once I get those ready, I'm a little bit behind because I just don't have enough. T-shirts coming very soon. So please do check that out. You can support for as little as $1 a month, or the sky's the limit. Okay, so let's start with the nose. 향 어떤지 보겠습니다. I'm getting some peppery Talisker. I'm getting some rich caramel. And I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed. Let's slow it down, and I'm going to focus on this and see what else we can find in the nose here. Orchard fruits. Stewed apples. There's a little bit of roasted nuttiness. There's a little bit of milk chocolatiness. There is some classic Talisker smoke there. As I sit here and I play with this, I'm getting a little bit of sherry. Some sherry Speyside. And the great thing about this is I'm not smelling a lot of single grain whiskey. It's reminding me a lot more of a blended malt in the nose. It's kind of like an older, slightly sherried, a little bit pepperier version of Green Label. Now, I want to do this right now. I put a little bit of, what's that film called? You know, the wax film on this to prevent any more angel share. Now, you can certainly see a color difference. 이거 색깔 차이 있죠? So, I know they try to say that this is the same classic blend. They look very different. And it's hard to see because it's so low there, but let me just show that one more time with more in the glass now. And I'll get my fingers out of the way. The difference in color here is not because of the 6% upgrade. That would only make a very slight difference to the color. I believe that we have more sherry matured whiskeys in the 46% than in the 40%. Let me check out this nose here. So different. 완전 달라요. Very, very different noses. The original Blue Label is more like bourbon oak and so-called traditional oak, as in refill oak matured. The 46% Year of the Rabbit is a lot. There's a lot more first and second fill casks here. There's a lot more sherry casks. The regular Blue Label is a little bit drier, whereas the 46% Year of the Rabbit is much, much more sweet, full, rich. And the last thing I want to say is I do get a sense of single grain whiskey here. I would recognize this as a blend if I were presented it blind. But I would not guess that this was a blend, a blended Scotch whiskey. I might think it was a blended malt Scotch whiskey or single malt. Malt whiskey. I would think this was malt whiskey. The more I smell this, the more I'm attracted to it. My first smell of this was disappointing, but as I am continuing to focus on the smells, I'm enjoying it, and it's not like a typical current style of whiskey. This is like a previous generation of whiskey. Okay, so it's time to give these a taste. And happy Lunar New Year, everybody. I hope this year, the Year of the Rabbit, is a great one for you. 설날 위한 건배 드리겠습니다. 건배! Cheers. This has a really, really big mouthfeel, a big taste for Blue Label. If I were presented this, I would not guess that it was Blue Label. It's a little bit pepperier. It's got much more sweetness and tartness and astringency in a good way, and a little bit more spiciness. It's also got a slight umami note, like I don't know, hot buttered toast. It's got a fair bit of peat, Talisker peat. I think especially Talisker. I don't think there's a lot of Lagavulin. If there's Kulila, it'd be very little. Talisker is at the forefront here. The finish is quite long, quite flavorful, spicy, quite spicy. I do notice some very, very elegant, nicely aged grain whiskey in this blend. It's mixing and blending really well with the single malts that are in this blend. They've really become a single entity here, which I think is, one of the blender's challenges, is to get that to be something that is very singular, with a lot of synergy. Let's try a little bit of Blue Label just by itself. There are some similarities, but this Blue Label is a lot more Speyside centered. This Blue Label is a lot more island centered. For the Speyside, they've got some really, really nice old Cardew involved in this blend, I believe. A little bit of Mortlach giving it some meatiness. Some sherried, I don't know, maybe Royal Lochnagar. What I can taste is some spice like cinnamon, some caramel or toffee, some licorice root with an undercurrent of apple. And then you got the peat that's kind of bouncing around all throughout there. The finish is quite spicy. I'm really liking this. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's about 0.66 milliliters approximately. When you give that a nice little shake, just to excite something to pop out of the glass, I'm getting some sherry and some apple. Okay, we'll let that sit for a minute. Let's go back and try the regular Blue Label just maybe once. The nose is really bland in comparison. Interestingly, this reminds me more of a añejo tequila. A little bit herbal, a little bit dry, a little bit of barrel sweetness. There is absolutely no comparison at all. I didn't talk about the price yet. I believe this is $350 locally. This is about $45 more at the end. After taxes, so like $420 or so. In my opinion, it's worth it. In my opinion, this is what you want. You have to try to find the 46%. I wonder about the 40%. There's a 40% version, and I wonder what that's like. Is it just this, or is it this? Because they're different. They are different. 완전히 달라요. Okay, so with water on the nose, the sherry notes, the chocolate, a little bit stronger. I'm also smelling some European wood with a little bit of notes like nutmeg and mace. So we can call this a baking spice. Even some cardamom. and that toffee, roasted nuts. With water, the spices accelerated. More cocoa, a little bit more sherry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you try some coffee in the middle of your tasting, you can neutralize your palate. I'm ready. I'm getting a little bit more fruit coming forward. Orchard fruits. Lots of fresh, ripe apple. A little bit of strawberry. Underripe strawberry coming through here. With this much water, I'm getting a little more chocolate, a little bit more baked apple. This is actually really quite nice. Now, one thing you can do if you want to play with your blend is to add some extra single malt into it. I'm going to put some Oban into there. So let's add a little bit of this Oban. Okay, let's add a tiny little bit there. There's like no change. It's like as if there's a fair bit of Oban in there already. A little bit more syrupy sweetness. It gets a little bit sweeter. Well, that's quite fun. All right, so let's get on to the Whiskey Whistle Whiskey score for Johnnie Walker Blue Label 46% Lunar New Year, Year of the Rabbit Edition. What's that going to be, folks? It's going to be 90 out of 100. You heard it, 90 out of 100 is the Whiskey Whistle Whiskey score for Johnnie Walker Blue Label 46% Lunar New Year, Year of the Rabbit. Definitely deserves a nice rabbit hug from a rabbit, a blue rabbit. Very good. And I'm going to give it a kiss on the rabbit. Mwah. Very, very nice. It's good enough to kiss. It's good enough to hug. And I will give this a recommendation if you are a Johnnie Walker fan. If you are a single malt lover and you're looking at $420, if you have an open mind, you might enjoy it with your whiskey club. I think that there are other options with your $420 that maybe can provide you, the single malt lover, with more enjoyment. But I wonder though, if I give this to you blind, what would you think of it? And then also remember that different areas sell this at different prices. This was, I think, $390 in Ontario. So it was a little bit cheaper. So 90 points. You could add more Talisker and get a little bit more peppery smokiness. You could add some sherry cask Mortlach and get something a little bit more sherried and a little bit more umami. Anyway, that was quite enjoyable. A lot of fun for me. And one more time, 새해 복 많이 받으세요. Happy Lunar New Year, everybody. And we'll see you again. My name is Mark. You've been watching Whiskey Whistle. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.